Well, hello. Today I'd like to give you my first impressions of Waterman Exception. So, this is an exception to my experiences of other pens in several ways. One of them is it's got four corners, and not just decoratively, literally on the section too. So what will I think of that? Well, we'll find out here. So let's dive into it. It's a box. So, the outer box, we've got pen Exception Slim Blue. And then it says Exception Slim Azul, so, whatever. And nothing else. I have previously opened this, so I'm not going to be surprised here. So, we remove the box. We have another box. Waterman Paris, and nothing else. Open it up. And we've got more storage junk, but I'm seeing the beginnings of a pen. Before I get to the pen, underneath the doohickey is another doohickey. And some junk about returning it, because I guess they're worried I'm going to return it. And a Waterman cartridge. So this junk is just about how to fill the pen and whatever. So, a box. What's inside here? A pen. So we'll have Mr. Squirrel hold up the pen. One thing that stands out to me right away is that this is a square pen. And it also stands out to me that we need to adjust the exposure so the color looks right, because this has got quite the nifty color effect. So since it's on a black background, it ends up being kind of messed up. That didn't work. Anyway, it's on a black background, so it gets kind of messed up, and you're not, at least on my preview screen, you're not getting the nice purple iridescent effect I'm getting. But there's just this very subtle level of sparkles in the pen. So we have here Waterman Paris. We have a France here. Another Waterman Paris. We've got Waterman logo. Guess that's Waterman clip. And just a thingy. Slip cap, which I appreciate. The nib is a fine point nib. Ideal, which I don't know what that means, but 18 karat. So to my surprise, for what I paid for this pen, it's a gold nib. But to be fair, it's usually much more expensive than what I paid for it. And it's a fine. One thing I'm curious about is that the section is square, so will I like that or not? I do not know. But the barrel unscrews and reveals a Waterman converter. Now, if I have a glorious new Waterman pen, what ink am I going to put in it? I'm thinking a little Parker Quink washable blue. So, I'm getting a little low. So we're going to do that. We're going to use the ink miser. So, just in case it burps, I'm going to run this down. Take a snort. Not too bad. Take another snort. Getting better. And one more snort just for luck. And just because I always do this, I'll just drip out one or two drops. And turn it back. And hopefully that'll have a good seal on it. So, doesn't look like the ink level dropped too much in the ink miser, but let's be fair. Cartridge converter pens don't typically hold gobs and gobs of ink. So we'll dump this out of the ink miser. I will try to remember to clean that after I film this video. Nice little tool, by the way, when your ink level gets down, because, what do you do? All right, so this is the Waterman Exception. And as you can see, it is a truly a fine nib, which I appreciate that. As I occasionally do, I'm using Parker Quink Washable Blue. Yeah, the square section thing is a little annoying. Washable Blue. It's, sometimes that tripod section is annoying. This is a little more annoying. But you know what? It's actually forcing me to turn it correctly, so that might be something. As far as flex, I really didn't expect to find any, and I'm not seeing any. I think if I squint, I can imagine that I'm seeing some line variation, but I'm not seeing a whole lot. Wetness and flow. Seems to keep up. Smear test. And of course it's a fine nib, so it's not going to be, super wet or anything. About what I would expect for a fine nib. And reverse writing for those of you who are into that kind of thing. Okay, turning it made me realize that as I was writing there, I kind of forgot that it had a square section. So apparently that's something I can get used to very quickly. And the world famous Peer Gustafson test. That skip there was my fault because I actually lifted it off the paper for a second. So I think it did very well on that test. Time will tell. So that was the Waterman Exception. This is normally a much more expensive pen. I was able to get it for a good price. I don't know how, but I did. But anyway, it is square. And as you saw when I started writing with it, ew. But then as I acknowledged later on while I was writing with it, I kind of quit noticing until I flipped it over to do the reverse writing. And that's been my experience with this pen, is that it does feel weird. I put it in my hand right now. Okay, that's rotated weird. I put it in my hand right now. Yeah, that feels a little weird. But I know, as I start writing, I quit noticing it. So, cool. I like its nib. I wouldn't say it replaces my Lamy 2000 by any stretch of the imagination, but I might say it might take its place in my rotation of writer type of pens, business type writer pens. Maybe even take a spell of black ink over the summer while the Lamy 2000 is on vacation. I like it. I kind of thought I would, looking at the pictures. Like I said, I didn't know the section was square, but... And, my Waterman experience, modern Waterman, is limited to 2 pens, so this brings me up to 3. Waterman Allure, Waterman Hemisphere, now this one. I appreciate that Waterman is doing the snap cap thing. When you're trying to take a note, that's easy. I like that. Things that I don't like, I wish I could get used to when I grab the pen. Ew, it's square. But like I said, once I start writing with it, I don't notice it anymore. I wish it held more ink, but that's a limitation of the filling mechanism. So on the whole, it turns out I'm actually kind of like this pen. And that's good, because when I initially unboxed it, I was just like, oh shoot, why? Why did you buy that? And while filming the writing sample, I was impressed, and while filming the writing sample, I was impressed, and in the time that's followed that I've been using it, I've continued to be impressed. Has a very quality feel. I do notice that the cap doesn't rattle, but it does. It is a little sloppy. Nothing horrible, but if that bothers you, you feel it. No pocket in this shirt, but it does slip over the collar very well. So, yeah, I think it's a pretty well made pen, and you got some play in the clip, and you don't hear much about Waterman. You hear about their Koren, which is a very good pen, by the way. Okay, I lied. This is my fourth modern Waterman. I forgot about the Koren. So it follows in that tradition of the Koren, where it's very well made, very attractive, and a reliable writer. I guess I would like to try some other nibs on this, but the form factor is just perfect for writing in my notebook. So yeah, you may not get wonderful calligraphy out of it, or beautiful writing, or me showing off at ink, but it's one I'll just whip out to write. So yeah. On the whole, I'm happy. Excuse me, I on the verge of hiccups. On the whole, I am happy I bought it. So I want to thank you for watching, and we'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.